And joining me on set to discuss this, Wisconsin Democratic Congressman Mark Pocan. Congressman, you heard Senator Merkley there, your former House colleague, Andy Kim from New Jersey, saying that Republicans shouldn't count on Democrats to vote to avert a government shutdown without rolling back some of these early moves by the Trump administration. Do you support that position?
Well, right now, we're not in charge of the House or the Senate. So first of all, the Republicans have to figure this out. So far, they haven't. But what we do know is two deals we had in the last session, one with Mike Johnson, one with Kevin McCarthy, that they broke the deal after we made it. So I don't think there's anyone waiting for the football to be held out and we're just going to kick at it, right? Anything we get has to be verifiable and has to be substantial as we're moving forward. But if it's just what they're doing right now, which is a bunch of lawlessness and cutting of programs, I think they're going to have a very difficult time getting any Democratic support, and they can't even get Republicans, at least in the House anyway, to approve anything, and that's their problem.
Do you think that that's a leverage point in these conversations? Because I wonder, I mean, there may be more than a couple of your Republican colleagues that wouldn't be all that bothered by a government shutdown.
No, definitely. That's part of the problem, is their caucus makes the Addams family look like the 1950s quintessential American family, right? There's Cousin It, Morticia, Uncle Fester. They can't all agree on something. And until they do, they're going to have the problems that they're having. But we're getting closer and closer to March 14th, and they just keep doing this, you know, completely allowing the president to run everything, giving up all congressional authority. I don't see how at this point you don't have a shutdown. I just don't think they have the competence to get it done in time.
Okay, and there's another leverage point you could potentially have in the summer, and that's the debt ceiling. I want to play for you what Ro Khanna, another one of your colleagues, said on MSNBC yesterday.
Hakeem Jeffries is a fighter, and here's where we're going to make the fight. The debt ceiling and the funding government, they're going to need Democratic votes. Chip Roy is not going to go vote for the debt ceiling. And Hakeem Jeffries and the Democratic caucus are going to be unified, not a single vote unless every dollar of Congress's appropriation and authorization is spent. And we have very much clarity that nothing is going to happen without the congressional branch, and we're going to win that fight.
I've talked to a lot of you guys around these fights over debt ceiling and over government funding, and Democrats are always insistent that you can't hold these things hostage in these negotiations. There's too much at stake. Are you willing to hold something like the nation's credit rating hostage in order to get what you're hoping out of these negotiations?
Here's the problem. The holy grail for Republicans right now is the tax cut for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and a bunch of other billionaires. It's going to cost at least $4 trillion over the next 10 years. So I don't think Democrats are going to rush to do anything that's going to help, do a giant transfer of wealth, literally destroying programs like within the Department of Education and that help people internationally and now helping consumers just to find money for Elon Musk. So as long as that's the plan, I don't think you're going to find a lot of people rising to help that tax break for the wealthiest.
And so big picture here, you're no on any bill that doesn't reverse these spending cuts?
Well, you have to see what the bill is going to be, but I can tell you we're not going to enable a giant tax cut, a transfer of wealth from people in my district in the middle class and aspiring to be in the middle class to Elon Musk. They're plenty rich, and we're not going to just let Donald Trump, again, help the people who belong to Mar-a-Lago. We're going to help people who live in Wisconsin.
Okay, let's talk about Elon Musk, because you have a new bill out. It would ban special government employees, as Elon Musk has been designated, from having federal contracts. It's likely not to go anywhere in a Republican-controlled House. So what's your motivation for putting this out?
For pure information. It makes no sense to have someone who's got this already not sure if it's legal role that he has of turning on and off the spigots of federal agencies, at the same time having at least, he's had over $20 billion of federal contracts, about $3 billion right now, plus some undisclosed ones in regard to Ukraine. And as a member of Congress, I can't have a federal contract on the side as a federal employee. You can't have a federal contract in your related area on the side. Why are we allowing Elon Musk? I mean, think about it. Any agency, if you want survival, oh, I might have a contract for you, Mr. Musk. That's corruption, right? We've gotten rid of that. That's why we have the laws in place that don't allow us to have federal contracts. But to allow Elon Musk to is really like, this is grifting at levels that make Donald Trump look like an elementary schooler, and Elon Musk is a PhD at ripping people off.
Yeah, but wouldn't this be a problem for the government? Because Elon Musk is already pretty entangled with the federal government, right? He's got billions of dollars in contracts with SpaceX and some of his other companies. Is there any way to undo this at this point?
Then he should keep his contracts if they're that important to his business, but then he doesn't get this special position, again, that may not even be legal, of turning on and off federal funds. But to have both, I mean, it's nothing but rife for corruption, and that's why we have to stand out against it.
Now, the administration seems to be insistent that there are guardrails or firewalls for Elon Musk when it comes to his access to some of this sensitive material. Mike Walls, the national security advisor, told Kristen that over the weekend, if he ends up getting into the Pentagon, that he won't just have broad access across the board. Do you trust the White House when they tell you that Elon Musk's his intervention in some of these areas comes with safeguards?
Of course not. I mean, look what he just did to USAID. Literally, they're dismantling the sign, telling everyone not to come into work. Even after a judge ruled he couldn't do that, they turned back workers today who went in to show up to work like they were supposed to do at USAID. So why would I trust a guy that doesn't follow the federal courts to say that somehow Elon Musk, don't worry, he'll be all right? You know, this is the problem with having a bunch of billionaires into this administration whose main goal in life is to profit. That's not how we do things. We do things for the public good, and Elon Musk has shown no comprehension of what the public good is.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on the public good and what people's perception of the public good is right now, because there's a new CBS YouGov poll that has President Trump's approval rating at 53%. This is after all these controversial moves that his government has put in place here in the first couple of weeks of their administration. Is the public not getting the message that you're selling right now, or do they actually like that he's come to Washington and shaken things up?
I think people are looking, first of all, look at where Elon Musk is at, because I think that's the more pertinent number, because he's kind of the fall guy right now doing this. But obviously, Donald Trump is allowing him to do this. But why do you allow the world's richest person to come and literally take funds from the world's poorest people to have this tax cut? That's their holy grail. They want to do this in April. That's why watch everything in how it is in regard to a tax cut for the wealthiest. They promised us they're going to lower costs for the average American. Have we seen that? Not at all. But what they're doing is finding these dollars, and I think they're going to have some fake money on paper through tariffs as well to try to justify this tax cut they're going to do. But last time they put us trillions of dollars in debt to do it. This time, they're trying to do it by actually cutting programs that help real people.
So let me try and pinpoint down on this. Do you think it's the American public's not aware of that yet? Because 70% of the people in this poll say that he's following through on his campaign promises.
No, people don't know yet. I mean, you know, like right now, agriculturally in Wisconsin, huge part of our economy. You know, there were 2,600 federal lines a couple weeks ago that were going to be cut. Then they said they rescinded the order. Then they said not the order, actually the OMB memo. You know, Donald Trump, remember the debate when he said he had a concept of a plan for health care? He doesn't have plans for everything. He has concept of plans. And then you watch them unroll as sloppily as they're unrolling. And that's the problem, is the public doesn't know what to understand. He's flooded the zone. You can't really easily focus on any one thing. But for those of us who do, we're telling you this is a major grifting, a major piece of corruption to be able to take money from programs that help my constituents and instead take it to fund a tax break for Elon Musk. And while he's at it, he might get a few more federal contracts. At that point, when people really understand it, no one's going to want that, even Republicans.
All right. We're going to leave there. Congressman Mark Pocan, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.